get started, I've used my outdoor voice because I had a little mic technical difficulty here. But hello everyone, and welcome to our third Artist Talk. My name is Julia Sager. I'm the Education Assistant at Lansing Art Gallery and Education Center. Lansing Art Gallery and Education Center has been a staple nonprofit organization in our community for 50 years now, and a leader in public arts education for 10, which is fantastic. ARTpath is actually one of those programs. It's in its third year, and it is the hard work of Katrina Daniels, who is our exhibitions and gallery sales director, and in partnership with Emily Stevens at the City of Lansing Parks and Recreation. We would like to thank our sponsors today, which is Sam and Judy Ide, for sponsoring this fantastic piece called Leaf Spiral, which is done by Mr. Hinshaw here. And without further ado, I will turn it over to him. Please join me in welcoming him.
So can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I will leave this on. But I have made notes, and always my first note says smile. One generation plants acorns, and the next enjoys the shade, a Chinese proverb. And that is on my little demonstration over there. We have a perfect evening to meet here. I'm looking at a half moon and all these smiling faces, I hope. So in the next 15 to 20 minutes, here's kind of what I thought I would do. I thought I would tell you a little about myself, not much. And then I will tell you a little about my more traditional artwork. And finally, I will tell you about Leaf Spiral. And finally, Leaf Spiral is interactive. I will tell you how you can respond and actually get up and do Leaf Spiral, okay? So, having said that, my wife, who's sitting back there, and I are Hoosiers. We moved to Michigan many years ago so that I could get my master's degree at Cranbrook Academy of Art in ceramics. And I consider myself a ceramicist. I live in Davison, which is 10 miles east of Flint. It's a 1 hour drive. And my studio is in my basement, and I have my kilns at my house also. I have an outside gas kiln, and I have an inside electric kiln. I work hand building, and I also work on the potter's wheel. Where are we? I made my living playing as an elementary art teacher. I taught elementary art in Madison Heights in the Lampeter School District. It was a heaven job. I never worked a day in my life. I played crazy. But what you're looking at, and when I introduce myself to children, I say you are looking at a part robot, and I am. I have cochlear hearing. And so when I retired, I became a full-time ceramic artist. Where are we here? I'm a writer. I'm far enough. Does that work better? I'm a writer. I published over 80 articles and a handful of books. Let's see, I'm an educator, a writer, and I still teach a little bit at the Flint Institute of Arts. I just finished a two-part class last week on nature sketching, since so many of us are walking in nature and how to take advantage of that. It was the most bizarre class, just like this, teaching with a mask on. They could not read my expressions, and I could not read their expressions. I am a ceramicist. I really work with clay. And if you know my work, or if you don't know my work, you will. Over my many years as a ceramicist, I work in two main veins. One of them is animal pieces, which is hand-built animal pieces. The animal pieces have a somewhat of a humor to them, but they also have a social connection to them. I was just going to bring these papers. Last year I had a show at my college of my animal work, hand-built animal pieces. All these pieces are handmade and fired in my gas kiln in the backyard. I will work on these until I either reach a point that I don't know quite what to do next, or I'm just sick of them. And then I pick up another theme that I've worked on. It's called my black and white. I call them my black and whites. They're a little more comical. They're hand-built pieces. These pieces are fired in my electric kiln, and I kid you not, I took this piece out of the kiln less than 3 hours ago. So this was made on the potter's wheel, but this is from this body of work. So I consider myself usually, I have one body or the next, and when I'm working on this body of work, I hate this and I want to smash them all. And the same thing when I'm working on animals, I can't stand these. I don't do them both at the same time. So these are my two main bodies of work. Along the line, some other things that creeped in. With the Flint water crisis, I became quite involved. I made a whole series of work based on the Flint water crisis. This is one of the cups in which I designed took the Flint water tower and superimposed the Death Star from Star Wars on top of it. And the Flint River, these are, if anybody that bought one of these would get a little crib sheet that would explain about it. From this body of work, I would get 25% of the sales of Flint Kidstock work. I'm also, sideline is I also make functional pottery, which is drinking out of this cup. So these are made on the potter's wheel, fired in my gas kiln. Where are we? So this is how I think of myself as a ceramicist, okay? But there's a body of work that just always intrigued me, and that's what this is based on. I'll tip over my table. This body of work is a group of artists in the 1960s began making art. Louder? Okay, began making art using land. This piece is called Spiral Jetty. It is probably the most famous land art ever made. It was made by the artist Robert Smithson. And this piece of work is in the Great Salt Lake. I want to say I drug my wife there, and I have been there to Spiral Jetty. Last year I had work here similar to what we're looking at today, and I based it on Spiral Jetty. My inspiration for this work comes from another artist that uses nature. His name is Andy Goldsworthy. He makes nature in nature, and it returns to nature. So this bottom piece is snow, and he photographs his work. The photography is the most important because some of these pieces only last a fraction of some minutes before they collapse. Another artist that also has inspired this body of work just died a couple of months ago, Cristo. You're probably familiar with his work if you're not. Cristo and his wife, who passed away a few years ago, made huge sculptures outside. They wrapped things. So all those pieces, all that kind of artwork that is so much out of the box, it's just intrigued me. So that is what has inspired this. So I'll talk a little bit about leaf spiral. Leaf spiral is it is a spiral, and it is based on a labyrinth, which I've never walked a labyrinth, but I love the ideas of walking and contemplating. So my idea behind this, these leaves, how I made this for what it's worth, these oak leaves were painted on the grass by me with latex house paint. It will go back to nature. Some of these will reside on here for a few months, but they'll finally be gone. The idea is go through the gate. I wanted a gate and I wanted ceramics, so I say this is art. And think and walk the spiral.
I consider you walk it slowly, as a labyrinth would be. As I was working on this idea is when the pandemic hit. And so I kept altering it. What I decided was, as you're walking the labyrinth, think about how you can do something positive during this time. And then I've also asked you to make a commitment to yourself. Make a statement. And how I suggested make a statement. I have sticks there, sticks here. Take a stick. Take a leaf and just thread with 2 holes, however you want to do it. Thread through, make a little flag. Because the ground is hard, you'll need a screwdriver and make a hole and place a little flag in the ground. The statement is to yourself, I will do this. When I was setting this up originally, the Lansing Art Gallery said, what happens when we mow? I said, just mow right over it. I have been over here, this is probably the 5th time, and each time I come over there's more flags offered, so it's touching to me for that to happen. Before I open it up to any questions, if you have questions, and encourage you to make a statement to yourself, I will give you my sales pitch. I did want to have a walkthrough with ceramic leaves. So I've got ceramic leaves, they are oak leaves. And then I began also making little oak acorns. And as I was making those oak acorns, I go, what the heck? These could be whistles. So I began making ceramic whistles. These are ceramic whistles. I have sold them. And I'm offering them for sale tonight. They're $10 a piece. And my commitment, what I'm doing tonight, any I sell, 100% goes to an organization I support in Flint called FlintKits.org. So if you want a whistle, they're $10, 100%. I'm not getting any of the profit off of those. I'll leave it up to you. I will guarantee every whistle works. You'll probably not want to, you can blow them, but if you blow it, you buy it, okay? If you want to just pick one up. So I've got about 20 whistles up here. Any questions? Carol, did you have anything I need to say?
No, I don't think. No.
Yes.
I know very little about ceramics.
Okay.
But you said you had 2 different kilns.
Yes.
One electric, one gas. When do you use one and when do you use the other?
And can you repeat the questions louder?
Okay. She said I have 2 kinds of kilns. One is a gas kiln and one is an electric kiln. I almost brought pictures of my kiln. The gas kiln fires with gas. It's got big burners. It sounds like airplane engines. And because you can control the relationship inside gas to air, you can control the inside environment. And so what you can, this is electric kiln. Look how clean it looks. This is gas kiln. I can cut the gas back and pull, I should have you talk about it. It reduces the inside of the atmosphere. The green, the bottom of the green here is gas. If I fired that in electric kiln, it would be more of a pinky color. So there is a difference. It's a subtle, not even subtle difference. Yeah.
And also, don't you use different glazes? You use different glazes?
Oh yeah, I mix my own glazes. I've got chemicals and a gram scale, and you test out glazes. It's some of the fun and some of the headaches also with, for instance, this piece, this is just terracotta with no glaze on it at all. So this is terracotta, like a terracotta pot. This piece, I took it out today, it's been glazed many times, and I just added more glaze to it to get this black with the colors breaking through. If you're interested, there's many pottery classes around. I'd encourage you to take one. Any other?
Yeah, back to the 2 kilns. Are you saying the different kiln will pull out different colors because
Yes,
of
yeah,
the heat?
yes, yes. Yes, the gas kiln, you're forcing gas in the kiln, and it's got a little air adjustment. You can close the damper so you can control how much gas, how much carbon in relationship to oxygen is inside the inside. And so if you close the oxygen off and close the damper so you're putting more gas in, more carbon in, it will pull out richer colors. It will pull chemicals out of the clay body. An electric kiln, it's got little buttons, you just push it. It's got electric elements, it heats up, and you don't have any of that control. So with the electric kiln, you have, it's different, very different. If you think about stoneware pottery, you're probably thinking about pots that have come out of a gas kiln like that. This is stoneware. This is very high fire. This is terracotta. This is low fire.
How did you decide to use primarily white? Why did you decide to use primarily white? The color.
Actually, last year I did a similar project, but I painted monarch butterflies. And last year's idea was as the grass grows and is cut, the monarchs will disappear as the monarchs are disappearing. So it was, and actually I used white, but I tried using orange paint and it did not show up on the grass well. The white paint just hops out more. And this is the third, I think I painted this 3 times already because I wanted it to last all summer. I won't paint it again, we've only got 1 month left. I painted this about a week ago, so that's color to pop out. I'll be glad to entertain any questions, but I would love it if you want to walk the spiral. I have sticks there, or here. You need to get a leaf and a you want to make a hole in it. Otherwise,
I've got another question for you.
okay.
So, can you tell us more about the colors that are on the gate, on the structure? Did
Okay.
you pick them, or are they random?
I wondered if somebody'd ask me that. When I was an elementary art teacher, I had a similar nature center that I built this same structure and I just used logs, just natural, and they looked great. So I thought, I'm going to do that again. And I thought, no, I want it to look like art. So I decided to paint it white. I was on New York Times website, and I started reading about a wolf, an artist that just died named Wolf Kahn. He was a painter, and I started looking at his work. He did trees, and he painted them like this, and I go, dang, that is beautiful. I just stole this idea. So I mean, I'm nothing other than I'm going to steal. They're so nice. The fun part of being an artist is the ambiguity. I painted it all white, then I did the color and it's too much. So I went back and painted more white until it seemed about right. It's no more than I'm just stealing that from another artist. You know, artists steal like crazy. And I'm glad I did. So that's a tribute to a different artist, Wolf Kahn. What a great question. The leaves are porcelain. The leaves are just porcelain. They have a little color, but not much.
Can you speak more to the spiral element in this work or others?
It's set up as a spiral. A large body of my black and white pieces are based on the spiral. Spiral is such a natural element in nature. Everything from the snail shell to the cosmos. Spirals have been used by artists from day one. Spirals are just so powerful. What I like about the spiral is it's not a closed shape. The circle is closed. This is it's an open-ended shape is what's fascinating to me about a spiral. Once again, I'm a really good thief. Spiral Jetty, I'm sure inspired that too. My original intention was to make this gigantic. I wanted to fill this whole area. And I'm kidding you, this is the ambiguity. As I started laying these out on my knees, my 70-year-old knees, it just seemed to suggest this. I called this site specific because I actually based it on that sidewalk curving.